Hello everyone, my name is Moon Rainbow and I'm really excited to share something a little different with you today. This reading is based on the Friend or Foe Tarot Quest, a spread originally created by the wonderful Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot. She designed this layout to help you uncover what's truly supporting you or what might actually be quietly working against you. I'll link her original video in the description below. I made a few personal tweaks to her original format by incorporating astrological houses to help clarify what part of your life is being activated. And I'll be using the Celestial Bodies Oracle deck for that. And I'm also going to be using the Caroline Myss Archetype Cards to help identify the inner patterns that will be influencing you in that particular life area. And don't worry, this reading is completely beginner friendly. Even if you're new to astrology or even archetypes, I'll walk you through everything step by step with visual prompts to help you follow along easily. If you're not sure what astrology house or archetypes are, that's totally okay. I'll explain everything both in just a moment before we begin the reading. Here's a quick overview of how the spread will work. We'll draw an astrological house card to reveal the life area or quest the reading wants to focus on. This may be about yourself, your love life, your home, your career, finances, and then we'll pull two archetype cards, one on each side. One will represent the friend and the other will represent the foe. We'll roll a die to see which archetype is more active in that particular area right now. Will it be your supportive energy or your shadow? And then this will be followed by pulling a oracle card to explore what's unfolding and what guidance is available regarding that aspect of your life. At the very end, we'll roll all 7 of these RPG dice to add a deeper energetic layer to the reading. So this dice system was developed by Dawn Michelle in collaboration with Lisa Papez. This is a great opportunity for me to finally work with the archetype cards, which have been in my collection for quite some time, but I really haven't gotten a chance to really dig deep and work with them. As well as working with the dice casting system, because will be my first time, so we'll be learning together. Most of the archetype interpretations we'll be drawing from will be from Caroline Myss's book of Sacred Contracts, since the guidebook that comes with the deck mostly repeats what's already printed on the actual cards. I'll take things really slowly and work with you step by step, so you'll be able to follow along with ease. Before we begin the reading, I want to give you a super quick and easy overview of how the system works, especially if you're new to astrology, archetypes, or using dice and divination. Astrology houses are 12 symbolic areas of life, like relationships, careers, finances, creativity, or spiritual growth. You don't need to know your birth chart or any other astrology terms. In this spread, the houses are just simply here to highlight which part of your life is being activated right now in this reading. At the start of each round, I'll draw one astrological house card, and that becomes your current quest. Then we'll move into archetypes using Caroline Myss's Archetype Cards. Archetypes are universal roles or patterns that live inside all of us, like the hero, the healer, the child, the victim. Each archetype has a light side, which reflects your strengths and gifts, and a shadow side, which reveals your blind spots, defenses, or ways of self-sabotaging. For each house, we'll draw 2 archetypes. One will represent the friend, and one will represent the foe. These are competing inner patterns. One is supporting your growth, while the other may be limiting or blocking you. And then we'll roll a die to see which archetype is currently leading the way. Is it your helpful inner guide or a shadow you've been unconsciously acting out? After that, I'll pull an oracle card to reveal how this energy is unfolding in your real life and what guidance or next step might be needed. Finally, we'll roll all 7 dice at the end to add an additional layer over the entire story. I'm excited to explore this with you, so let's begin the first quest and see what part of your life is asking to come forward. Now that we've got the basics of astrology and archetypes down, let's begin the actual spread. First, we'll draw one card from the Celestial Bodies Oracle deck. I've only picked out the house cards here. And this will tell us where the quest is happening, what part of your life is being called forward for reflection or change. So let's start there. I'm just gonna shuffle here. All right, we have the 8th house, which is about power and transformation. This is about death. And flanking here, as I mentioned before, will be your archetype cards. This side will represent your friends. This will represent your foes in regards to this particular life aspect or domain or area. Now, let's shuffle here to see who our friend is in regards to this particular life area. Detective. And we'll see what foe. All right, foe here turned out to be goddess. All right, now we're just going to roll the dice, and this will tell us which archetype is the most active in this house, the 8th house, which we talked about is your power, transformation, death area. So let's see how this works. If we roll 1, the connection isn't clear yet, we'll have to roll again. Now, if we roll any number between 2 and 10, this means that the foe is currently influencing you in the 8th house. If we roll 11 to 19, this means that the friend is leading the way in this particular aspect of your life. Now, if we roll a 20, we pull an extra card for deeper insight. And for those, we're going to be using the Oracle cards. All right, let's see what we've got. We've got 14, so that means friend is leading the way in the 8th house. So we'll put this to the side. All right, and then we'll move forward to the next quest here. This will be the 3rd house, and this is about communication and mindset. This is about learning, expressions, even about siblings. Now let's see what our friend here is. Healer. Okay. So, and our foe here is God. Okay. We've got a 2. So this means that the foe currently won the quest in regards to the 3rd house. So just to give you a little bit of context here, when we talked about the 3rd house being about communication, your mindset, learning, expression. So if the foe won the 3rd house, we're looking at the shadow, right? Because this is our foe side. The shadow attributes here is about cruelty, using power to control people. So in this case, this is saying that communication in this aspect is being used in a way to control others. All right, so I'm going to put that to the side, and we'll finalize the spread in just a little bit here. We're almost done. All right, so we have the 11th house, and this is about community, friendships, dreams, and networks. All right, so let's see what we got here. We got 13, which is a friend. So let's see who our friend was. The poet. Okay, so it says here, expresses soulful insight in symbolic language. All right. I'm going to rearrange the spread here, so we'll take a closer look. All right, if you followed along, as you recall, the very first quest was the 8th house, and the friend won that particular quest. So therefore, the archetype for that was the detective, and the light attribute is right here. Now, in regards to the second quest, the foe won. So we're going to look at the shadow attribute of God, and the house card we got was the 3rd house. And the very last quest, the 11th house was picked, and the friend one. So we're looking at the light aspect of the poet card. Now we're just going to shuffle the cards, and we're going to add a little bit more information with both the oracle deck as well as the dice that we're going to roll in just a second here. So for the very first quest, we got vulnerability as an action, storytelling for the 3rd house, and lastly, we've got beginning. And now we're going to roll our dice to the side to give us a little bit more depth and information here. Got the 1, 3, 7, another 3, 00, a 19, and a 12. All right, I'm going to stop here, and then I'm going to go over all of this information using all the different guidebooks, and then we'll go over it together. All right, in the first quest, we've drawn the 8th house here. This is, again, the life area of transformation, emotional depth, power dynamics, and intimacy. So this life area invites you to explore what's hidden, the unspoken truths in your relationships, the parts of yourself you keep guarded, and the emotional aspects of your life that you may feel that is a little too intense or even a little bit scary. So the friend card that we got for this one would be the detective, and because it's a friend, we look under the light attributes. So the detective archetype here speaks to the power of seeking truth, not from a place of paranoia or control, but with clarity, courage, and curiosity. So here you're being supported in uncovering what lies beneath that surface, but within yourself, with your connections, relationships, and things like that. Now, paired with the vulnerability card here, this message talks about transformation beginning when you allow yourself to be seen by others. Allowing yourself to be vulnerable, honest, soft. These hidden parts of your life lose that power to intimidate you and instead become a gateway to perhaps like a deeper intimacy with others and personal freedom. So that's what this particular column speaks about. Now, in regards to the second column, we have the 3rd house. So for the 3rd house, it rules your voice, your mindset, learning. It governs how you think, how you communicate, how you interact those that are closest to you. And the particular foe that we got here was God, and because it became a foe, it's under the shadow attributes. So the God archetype in a shadow form highlights that inner pattern where communications filtered through ego, through dominance, through control. This card reminds us needing not to be seen as the smartest person or the most powerful voice in the room or using your words to influence, impress, or control others, but it's asking you to connect with others instead. So this could be a call to examine how you share power in conversation. Are you not just talking, but also listening to others? The antidote here in regards to her book, it talks about God in a space of humility. Real power doesn't need to dominate. It uplifts others. Because wisdom often comes from listening from others and not speaking. So in regards to the oracle deck we got here, we got storytelling. And this comes from the Cosmic Crossroads deck. So in this regard, you're being asked to reflect, what narratives are you creating about yourself, your life, or your relationship? What kind of mindset do you have about yourself or others? Are the stories that you keep telling yourself empowering your growth? Or is it a way to protect your fears, right? This may be the very pattern that's blocking that transformation that you're seeing here in the 8th house, which is about transformation. The detective was ready to expose the truth, but maybe the shadow god may still be clinging on to a false story that doesn't lead to you being open and receptive to this truth here. Now, lastly, with this particular reading, we have the 3rd column for the 11th house. So the 11th house is a realm of your greater vision, your friendships, your community, your place in the community specifically. So here we have the poet. And again, we got the light attribute, so it's a friend here. This suggests that you're being supported right now with the ability to express truth in a way that connects with others. And this is directly tied to your 2nd column. You may be called to share your voice, your art, or even your vulnerability. Again, that's your 8th house that we talked about, being open and vulnerable. And not to stand apart, but to help others feel seen. So the poet in this space says your words matter, your insight matters, even noticing of the world has power to heal. After the deep internal work of the earlier quest that we have here, especially confronting control, self-protective stories, this is your final quest where you can seek truth and creative change. So the oracle card that we got here is beginning. So this is encouraging you to step forward as yourself with authenticity and courage, as you could see here with this person. Now let's move on to the dice here, which is also a really important tie into all of this. So for the D4 dice, we have the energy, and this is broken down by elements. We have the 3, so this is about fire. So the energy guiding this entire spread is fire. So this is about spiritual, creative, and soul-driven. This tells us that the heart of your journey is about awakening passion, expressing your truth, and facing what's hidden. So your soul wants to speak, create, and evolve. And you can see that throughout all of these particular columns speaking to that fire. Now, in regards to your D6 dice, we got 1, and this is about your advice. So 1 is about security. So the advice coming through is security, not in a sense of control, but in a sense of inner grounding and balance. So this reflects your 3rd house, which is right here, where power struggles, overthinking are clouding your connection. You're being asked to trust that true influence comes from presence, not from force, and to change our internal framework, our mindset of how we see ourselves and others. Now D8 here, we have the phase, and our phase is expansion. So this is about growth, adaptation, and stretching beyond your comfort zone. And we see that here with the oracle card with beginnings, like forcing us to press through that threshold and move forward or progress. So let's move on to D10, and those are here, and it's also your percentile dice, and we rolled a 7. So this is about endings, cycles, and return. So your focus is on what's ending and what's coming full circle. So this is kind of relating to that column 2 of your inner stories, control patterns, or defenses that no longer serve you. So it's telling you to let go of your old version. You're not here to fight, you're here to transform and move forward to the new beginnings that we're seeing in column 3. And now we're moving on to D12, which is also about the houses, but this is more about the internal house versus the external, right? So the 12th house here, we have secret fears, hidden desires, and dreams. And so just like the 8th house and the 11th house from your quest, this ice pulls you inward towards your hidden longings, your fears, your truth. So something deep inside wants you to be seen and heard, just like the poet here that we have, but it requires vulnerability and honesty, and we get that from the first column here with the oracle card, vulnerability. So lastly, we have the D20 dice, which is about your tarot archetype, and we rolled 19, which is the sun. So the guiding tarot archetype is about clarity, joy, truth, and self-expression. So after all of this internal work, the sun shines through as your closing message. You're ready to be seen, and not in a curated version, but your full, true, authentic self. And that is all of the dice here. And so just to bring it all together, because I know that was a lot, across the three quests that we have here, what we've explored, it's about navigating transformation, it's about communication, and stepping into your role, into your community and or the collective. So the eighth house invites deep emotional honesty and trust. The third house challenges your relationship in regards to power and truth, in regards to communication. And then lastly, we have the 11th house. It's asking you to share your unique voice and open up to new beginnings once you've done that deep emotional work. The detective, the god shadow, and the poet each brought a different lens on how you're embodying or resisting growth in these particular areas. Now, with the dice casting, what we see is that energetic thread in regards to that external aspects of ourselves, right? So, D4, we got that fire, this journey is fueled by energy and creative purpose. And then we have that security for the D6. You're being pulled to create grounding and safety in yourself and in your connections. And then D8 with expansion, you're in a phase of growth and discovery, being stretched to evolve. And then D10, we have the endings. There's a cycle coming to a close. Something must be released in order to be reframed and moved into new beginnings. The 12th house, about secret fears, unconscious patterns, and dream work, are shaping your path. And we see that directly with the very first column, the very first quest that we have to deal with. But lastly, what's great is the sun, right? That D20. And at the center of it all, it's asking you to live more authentically, more joyfully, more aligned with who you truly are. Speak for your, about yourself authentically and move forward into a new beginning. All right. I hope the sample reading helped you see how support and sabotage can show up in subtle ways and how the spread can bring these dynamics into light. If you enjoyed this reading or want to try it out for yourself, I've included helpful links in the description box below, including the original Friend or Foe spread by Boho Tarot and the D20 dice system breakdown video as well. And if you do your own version, feel free to tag me. I'd love to see what quest you're working through and how archetypes are showing up in your life and spreads. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care.